needed a day to think about this. I needed to sleep on what I was going to say. Because the news, the worst kept secret has come out. I think the one thing we expected was going to happen in the offseason is pretty much going to happen. As it was announced late last night, Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford are mutually parting ways on good terms, and Stafford is requesting a trade. So the Stafford era in Detroit is officially over, which I said it would be. I said that this year was going to be Stafford's last year. So in terms of this news, I'm not really surprised. I'm not surprised. I knew this was going to happen. It wasn't a matter if, it was but when. Because the Lions are now going into a rebuilding phase. And we all knew damn well Stafford wasn't going to be staying in a rebuilding phase. Because Stafford's been in this league for 12 years. And Stafford has 2 years left on his contract. And and Stafford's 32. And with where Stafford is at in his career, he's not going to stay around for another rebuild. He's going to want to win now. And a rebuild was not going to be part of his plan. Plus with the Lions expecting to, be around the same record next year, at around 5-11, 6-10, more than likely next year, then it made no sense really to keep Stafford and keep wasting this man's career. Do I wish we could keep Stafford? Yes. But do I think it was time to move on from him? Yes. Let me be real about Stafford here for 12 years. Stafford was never the problem. Stafford didn't fail the Lions. The Lions failed Stafford. It was the other way around. For Stafford's case, it was simply put, he was just a victim of a team that mismanaged him. Because the team has failed to build around him and give him every weapon and tool he needs to succeed. Which is what you need to do with a young quarterback in order for them to thrive in this league. If football's called a team sport for a reason, this isn't the NBA where one guy can carry a team of overpaid scrubs to irrelevance in the NBA Finals. Cough, cough, LeBron James, Cleveland 2018, cough, cough. That's what the Lions tried to do for 12 years. They decided, let's just let Matt Stafford carry us to relevance and see where it takes us. What could possibly go wrong? Let's be real. Stafford was never the problem. Any fucking person that thinks Stafford was the problem is a fucking idiot. And needs to fucking rethink their knowledge. Let me just say this, though. Even though Stafford wasn't the problem, at the same time, he was not the solution. We were never going to win a ring with Stafford. No matter what the Lions did, the Lions were always going to find a way to mess it up. Now, originally for this, I was going to originally talk about the coaching hires of Aaron Glenn and now Anthony Lynn. 2 great hires for the Lions. Which are 2 big wins. 2 big home runs. And then the Stafford news breaks out right after it was reported that the Lions are expecting to sign Anthony Lynn to be offensive coordinator. Which I think is a good hire. So in other words, it's a soul for a soul. Yeah, we got a good coaching staff, but it cost us Stafford. Plus the Lions, they badly needed to rebuild badly. Let's be real. It was a rebuild. It was going to be a rebuild. The only reason Brad Holmes said it was going to be a retool, I believe Brad Holmes wanted to say rebuild in his press conference. But he was more than likely told by the Forts to not say it's a rebuild. For business. Because if you say rebuild, that means losing, and yeah, fans aren't going to show up for the games. If you're not winning. Because in Detroit, let's be real about Detroit fan bases. If you're not winning in the city, no one is going to give a rat's ass about you. Just ask the Detroit Tigers about their attendance issues the last few years, after they said they were going to flat out rebuild and tank for the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, the Tigers even flat out admit that they were going to be tanking. And how did the fan base respond to that? Not even showing up to the games. Because the Tigers, the last few years before the pandemic, They were in the bottom 5 in the MLB in baseball with attendance. But at least we know that what the attendance issue is. Simply because they're rebuilding and tanking. And yeah, the fan base responded by not showing up. Because everyone's like, oh, we want to win or we're tired of losing. Nah. Whining like a bunch of fucking retarded PC babies. But back on topic though. Like Stafford never really had everything he needed to succeed. Like, he's never had a 1,000-yard rusher in his career. The closest he came was with Reggie Bush in 2013. Like, he's never, for fuck's sakes, he's never even had a top 15, top 16 rushing offense in his career. The closest he's come to it was 2013 when the Lions had the 17th ranked rushing offense in the league. Like, hell, Stafford is 9-2 when he has a running back go for 100+ rushing yards in a game. And here's a fun fact here. In all 3 of Stafford's playoff games, in all 3 years the Lions made the playoffs, the Lions' rushing offense was ranked 28th or worse. I believe 2011 it was ranked 29th or 30th, I think it was. 2014 they had the 28th ranked, and then 2016 they had the 30th ranked. So it's always been 28th or worse. And in those 3 playoff games, the Lions had with Stafford in the Stafford era, the Lions rushed had around 50 rushing yards a game in all 3 of those games, and the defense gave up over 440 yards per game. But yet it's Stafford's fault we lose. Okay. And oh, by the way, before anyone goes in and say, oh, but other QBs were able to win with less around them than what Stafford has around them, keep in mind here, in the NFL, since around, I think it was the 60s or 70s, NFL teams that have rushed around 50 yards, had 50 rushing yards, and gave up over 440 yards in a game, had around a 10% win ratio in the playoffs. And any of them that did win, it was just a mere fluke, and then they were destroyed by a real team the next round. But hey, Stafford, he wasn't the solution. Like, we were never going to win a ring with Stafford. Like, there was always going to be something that prevented this team from getting over the hump. Especially with the game changing. And, it's now becoming a mobile QB league. And Stafford's not really a mobile QB. He's more of a gunslinger that likes to chuck the field down. Like, the one issue that we had with the Patricia Quinn era and the Quinn Tricia era was that the Lions were trying to turn Stafford into Tom Brady and trying to turn him into a checkdown machine. When Stafford isn't that. Stafford's a goddamn gunslinger. I've always loved Stafford. As much as I loved him, though, it was time. It was time to move on. Let's be real. Stafford, he deserves the ring. He wasn't going to get it with Detroit. Wherever Stafford does end up getting traded to and goes to, I wish him the best of luck. I hope he wins the ring with another team. I honestly hope that Stafford does get a chance to play against the Lions in his career so we can see how he would match up against him. And maybe if Stafford does end up playing against the Lions later on in his career in a couple years, maybe Stafford will wreck the Lions and maybe shut all these stupid-ass Stafford haters up once and for all. And I'll say this, Stafford haters. If Stafford ends up playing against the Lions in his career and Stafford has a field day on the Lions, I'm going to troll the living shit out of those Stafford haters. So be warned. There's your warning. But yeah. In terms of what the Lions are asking for him, I've been hearing around that the asking price is at least a first-round pick. I think a first-round pick, and I think a couple mid-round picks. But let's be real. This fan base is so toxic that the Lions could get a fucking king's ransom for Stafford, and this fan base would still whine and bitch and complain and say, that's not good enough. We want more. Because it's that kind of toxic-ass fan base. But yeah, I think I've said almost everything I need to say about this, you know. Not really surprised. I knew it was coming. It still hurts, but I knew it was coming. It was more than likely one of the worst kept secrets the Lions had. One of the worst kept secrets. So yeah, with Stafford gone, I think this all but guarantees that the Lions are going to be taking a QB at 7 in the first round. Probably going to be either Trey Lance or Zach Wilson. Because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be definitely gone by then. And I think Justin Fields will be gone by then. So, yeah. Oh, Jacksonville's an interesting situation for sure. Especially since they have Urban Meyer as head coach. Like, I mean, if the first overall pick should be Trevor Lawrence. But I would not be shocked if they go Justin Fields. Since Urban Meyer's worked with Justin Fields before at Ohio State. And I know Urban would be able to build the team around him, so the pick should be Trevor Lawrence, but I wouldn't be shocked if Fields goes first overall. Maybe I'm making a bold prediction here. Hey, we can all dream, damn it. It's the draft. We can all dream, damn it. But yeah. Anyway. You know, I'll say right now, and for Stafford, if we do trade him, the Lions would end up taking a $19 million cap hit, but they would free up $14 million for this off season. So we would free up a good chunk of cap space, and we would end up freeing up more cap space in the future because next year the dead cap would be $6 million. So yeah, for 2022, we then free up an additional $13 million. Especially since with the pandemic and everything, the cap is expected to go down this year. So, yeah. Like, hell, especially for Stafford's defense, like, as much as Stafford has struggled against top opponents, you know, with the losing record against winning teams, here's the one defense I have for him. Has Stafford ever had a decent offensive line, or hell, even a top rushing game? Like, hell, DeAndre Swift has probably been the best running back the Lions have had since Barry Sanders. Like, hell, for fuck's sakes, it took 12 years for the Lions to get a Pro Bowl offensive lineman in Frank Ragnow. I would debate and say Taylor Decker, too, since Decker had a career year this year, too, but yeah, the Pro Bowl, he got Pro Bowl snubbed. But, man, for fuck's sake. Like I said before, the term common sense does not exist in this fan base, because this fan base doesn't think with knowledge and common sense. They usually act off emotion. They react off emotion and don't use their brains. They think with their fucking emotions. But yeah. You know? But yeah, I believe the Lions, it would need to be done. You know, acquire more picks for this draft because, you know, for this rebuild, we're not going to accomplish much of a rebuild if we're going to have 5 picks in this damn draft. Like, it's not going to work. And before anybody comes in the comments and say, oh, but you can rebuild a team with 5 picks in the draft. Yeah, that only works if A, you have the right people calling the shots in the front office, and B, if you have the pieces in place already. And let's review the Lions situation. A, the Lions don't really have the pieces in place already to where we can rebuild a team with 5 picks. There's more pieces on the offense than on the defense. Like, the only pieces really on the defense are mainly Okudah and Aurier. And that's really about it. And on offense, I can name a lot of pieces on the offense. DeAndre Swift, Kenny Golladay, TJ Hawkinson, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, maybe Jonah Jackson. Because Jonah Jackson was having a good rookie year to start the year. And then, yeah, issues in the second half. I wouldn't even say on defense, Romeo Okwara, too. I don't know, that would be an interesting situation with Stafford gone, though. Does this mean that the Lions are going to probably keep Kenny Golladay? Because Kenny Golladay is still very young and a good receiver. I would say more than likely put Golladay under the franchise tag. And then that buys the Lions more time to negotiate a good contract with him. Like I say, give Golladay whatever he wants. Give that man whatever he wants. He deserves it. But yeah, I do say to Stafford, I do thank Stafford for what he's done the last 12 years with the Lions. what he's been able to do, you know. Always loved him. One of the main reasons I really got really back into the Lions. You know, always viewed him as a good role model. Like, he really was everything about the city of Detroit. Like, he put this entire team on his back until he couldn't carry the team no more. Like, hell, he even proved he's one of the toughest son of a bitches in the league. When he was playing through, like, what, 3-4 injuries this year? Like, if Stafford truly didn't give a shit about winning with the Lions, then he wanted to play through 4 injuries, now wouldn't he? But yeah, now the question is, who's going to trade for Stafford? Like, I think the two biggest favorites would be more than likely Indianapolis and New England. I think Indianapolis would probably be the favorite because Indianapolis has the pieces in place to compete for a championship. And they just need a QB now to get over the hump now with Phillip Rivers retiring. I also have New England in there too because New England's not going to rebuild. They're desperate for a fucking QB because Bill Belichick wants to prove that he's better than Tom Brady at all costs. And yeah, the Patriots, they're in no position to draft a QB, so they might go for it. I could see Stafford to New England happening. I could see Stafford to Indianapolis happening. I've even heard Denver possibly in the sweepstakes too, since it looks like they're going to be moving on from Drew Lock. Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, they got a couple young receivers, and they got some talented pieces there too. I think mainly for Denver, I think QB's been holding them back. So yeah, Denver, I could see that one happening. I've even heard San Francisco. Yeah, I could see San Francisco happening too, if they can get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo's awful contract. You know, it's going to be an interesting offseason. With the sweepstakes begin, I could see it turn to an all-out bidding war, and whoever has the highest bid gets Stafford. I've even heard the Washington No-Skins as a potential sleeper team. Since Washington has some good pieces on the defense in there, I think that team is still an incompetent shithole. But yeah, the Washington making the playoffs by winning the NFC least, that really fucked everything up for them. Because now they're definitely in no position to draft a QB. So yeah, I even heard the Saints possibly, since Drew Brees is expected to retire. I don't think the Saints will make a run at it because I've heard the Saints are gonna turn the keys over to Jameis Winston. Like I've said about Winston before, I think he's a solid QB. He just needs to stop turning the goddamn ball over all the time. That's just his main issue. He keeps turning the ball over too much. But yeah, still. You know, the Lions, they're doing the right thing. This is the right move here. And if the Lions can nail the Stafford trade properly, then I think it would be another big home run hit. If they can get a good return for him and acquire more picks. Because you look at the Lions, like I've said, they're not a free agent destination. Yet. I say yet. You never know. You never know what could happen. But yeah, the Lions aren't really a top free agent destination. We're not going to get top free agents. So yeah, I think the best way to really rebuild the team is through the draft, which has been one of Brad Holmes' biggest strengths. And speaking about Brad Holmes, and back to the previous point I said, where a lot of before fans argue about saying you can rebuild a team with 5 picks, I said it only happens if the right people calling the shots. We don't even know how Brad Holmes is going to do as GM yet. Hell, he hasn't even assembled his front office staff with him yet. So we don't even know. That's going to be a big unknown. Like, he hasn't even done really anything yet. That's like the first big news we've heard from the Lions so far. So yeah, it was obvious that Brad Holmes did have a bold plan. He had a great Detroit master plan. He just didn't want to reveal it to everybody and just leave everybody in the dark. That's all that was all about. So, yeah. Yeah, anyway, I think I've gone on pretty much a good amount of it. But yeah, you look at all the teams possibly on the trade market, like you have Denver, who has the 9th pick in the draft. You got San Francisco, who has the 12th pick in the draft. You then got New England as the 15th pick in the draft. Washington has the 18th pick in the draft. And then you got Indianapolis, who I believe has the 21st, or I think it's the 20. Yeah, it's the 21st pick in the draft. I think it's the 21st pick in the draft. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's somewhere in the early 20s. I don't see in the Saints happening. I think the Saints are going to ride with Jameis Winston with Breeze retiring. I've also heard another sleeper team that could come into play is the Carolina Panthers. And I believe the Panthers have, I think it's the 8th pick. No, the Panthers, it's plausible. I could see maybe the Panthers. But yeah, gonna be interesting for sure. I think it's a good thing that it's a mutual parted way. So the Lions and Stafford are leaving on good terms, unlike bad terms like with Slay last year and whatnot. See, I think it's good, that they're leaving on good terms, because if this was on bad terms like with the Slay situation last year, Stafford's trade value would then diminish immediately. But since they're leaving on good terms, then the Lions can market Stafford properly and get the best possible return possible. All I say is, I don't really want him to go to a division rival like Chicago. But yeah, still, I think the two favorites are either Indianapolis or New England. I think he goes to either the Patriots or I think he goes to the Colts. I think the Colts would be the best fit for him. It really depends on who's gonna pay the big price, who's gonna offer the big bid. But yeah, just thought I'd give my quick thoughts on the Stafford and the Lions parting ways. Not really surprised, but I say to Stafford, thank you for your services, Stafford. Good luck wherever you end up. Hope you get that ring you deserved. Sorry the Lions couldn't get you a ring, Stafford. You fucking deserve one. And oh yeah, before I really let this one off, there's one thing I forgot to mention. To whichever young QB the Lions do end up getting, whether it be Trey Lance or Zach Wilson or hell even Justin Fields, I hope you pay close attention to how the Lions fan base has treated Stafford, because that's your future coming up. Because I guarantee you, whichever those young QBs we're going to get, this toxic fan base is more than likely going to stab them in the back like they stabbed Stafford in the back the last 12 years. And blame them for literally every single loss. Unless this fan base somehow learns the error of their ways and doesn't do that. Which would kind of look pretty hypocritical if you ask me. Or maybe the Lions front office, or maybe the Lions have finally recognized the error of their ways with Stafford, and they'll actually do what they should have done with him in the first place, and put a complete team around that said young QB, whichever it may be. And actually give them every single tool and weapon they need to succeed and thrive. But I think this toxic fan base learning their lessons, since common sense is non-existent in it, I think you have a better chance at winning that $1 billion Michigan Powerball lottery than you have of this fan base learning their lesson. And that's a fact, Jack. But yeah, hail to Outsiders, and hail to great Detroit Masterplan. At least NASCAR season's coming up so I can deal with a better fan base than this toxic shit. NASCAR heavyweight champ C-Rad out.